the city's lost a couple of really important people this week. Two former planning board members, in Rich Barker and Frank Crooks. In our moment of silence, if we could all put in a little prayer for them and their families. So I'd like to call this meeting to order, and we'll all rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Could you call the roll, please?
Bobo Amy.
I'm here.
Thomas Jordan.
I'm here.
John Junko.
Here.
Newton White.
Here.
Dan Schmidt.
Yes.
Maria Mills Bennett.
Here.
Lance Green.
Is here. Can I get a consideration of the minutes of August 24th?
Motion to approve the minutes of August 24th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments? Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Bobo Amy.
Yes.
Thomas Jordan.
Yes.
John Junko.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
Dan Schmidt.
Yes.
Maria Mills Bennett.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes. All right. Let's get right into the meat. Case number VARC 23-0007, a request for a variance from the LDC to allow a lot size less than 1 acre, a lot width less than 150, and a side building setback of less than 25 feet on 917 Hoyt Street.
Make a motion to approve case number VARC-23-0007.
Second.
I have a motion and a proper second.
Okay. Gwen Perney, planner. Unfortunately, we didn't receive a few opposition letters until yesterday and early this morning, so that's what's before you. They were the same concerns as the letter included in the packet, but just wanted to pass those along for your consideration. This variance is a request from the property owner at 917 Boyd Street. Let's see here. The property is generally located on the north side of Boyd Street between Bogsford and Journey's End, within the Mac John subdivision. The variances requested are related to a proposed lot split. The variances are related to the lot sizes of both lots, the lot width of proposed lot 2, and the side setbacks for both lots. In general, this property is the largest property within the Mac John subdivision. The majority of the lots within the subdivision are about just over 20,000 square feet, which is more in line with the R20 subdivision dimensional requirements. And however, this was an older subdivision that just never got rezoned probably to the proper zoning district. So in general, the lot size you can see there. Then with the setbacks, the average, if all of the homes had the 25-foot side setbacks, there should be 50 feet in between each home. However, in general, throughout the subdivision, it's less than that. So this shows basically the proposed lot line here in the blue dashed lines. The property owner also could potentially have the option of splitting the lot on the previously platted lot line between 5 and 6 without any variances. However, the intent of the property owner is to keep the existing house there on lot 6 and then construct a new house on lot 5. And that is the end of the presentation. In general, staff reviewed the variance and the variance criteria in the code for consistency with basically the surrounding properties, the R20 zoning district, and is recommending approval of the variances. And the applicant's here for questions. I'm here for questions.
Stan, I'll start with you. Any questions of staff here?
Basically, as I understand it, the issue tonight is just, does this fit basically the the zoning that is in place, is that correct? And so this, our issue is just, are we gonna allow the splitting of this lot?
It's, yes, it's, the variances from the current agriculture dimensional requirements. And with the agriculture dimensional requirements, they're much more than, or is what is generally in the area, you know, as seen in the overall acreage map there for the subdivision.
And where there's, would really impact it would be the distance between the existing house and the proposed house.
It's,
But the distance between this proposed house and the neighbors is
yeah,
still the 50
it's
feet?
less, they're asking for setbacks that are less than 25 feet. So that's the variance, is for a 15-foot side setback and a 16-foot side setback instead of a 25-foot side setback.
And that's it for now for me.
Newton?
15 and 10 foot side back.
There was a typo in one of the tables.
Okay, so it is 15 on both sides then?
Yeah, it's correct on all the graphics there and in the rest of the report. It's just that that one table didn't get changed.
Okay, so 15 on both sides and 50 foot in front.
Yeah, and in the recommendation.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's all I have for right now.
John?
I guess from what I see here, the subject property is the largest lot in that area, correct, currently?
Currently.
And to the opposite side of the road, these lots are .46 acres?
They're the original platted 100 by 200 foot lots. So
Okay.
that's, if anybody else had no changes to their property lines since the property was platted, that's what the lot size is 100 by 200.
So most of these are .46 lots, except for the ones on the upper part of the street. Okay, all right. I just need clarification, thank you.
Maria?
I think I'm okay.
Tom?
Yeah, there's a shed on this drawing here. In the back of the proposed lot 1, I guess, it's existing right now. Is that would be well within the 16-foot easement, I guess, or the distance between the two.
The applicant can provide information if that shed is actually still there. It does show up on the survey. I'm not sure if it's still on the
Okay.
property.
All right.
But sheds in
If it
general.
exists, does that have to be beyond the proposed setback then?
If it's less than 250 square feet, then it'd have a 10-foot side setback. But they could always move the shed. They would have to move the shed if the variances were approved and if they move forward, you know, with the minor subdivision, they'd have to move that in order to comply with the setback.
Okay. And then, from what I got was, they could go back to the original lot lines. Would that be an administrative change then? They wouldn't need to come through all this process?
Right, so they would have to actually demolish the house that's already there.
Oh, they would have to?
Yeah, because it would be non-conforming.
Okay, gotcha.
So that would be an option if they wanted to do it administratively,
Right,
to split it into 2 lots. They'd have to demo that house first.
right, okay, that makes sense then. All right, that's all I had for you, thanks.
Bo?
Oh, the zoning is A1, is that right?
A.
Yay.
Okay. And is that consistent with all the other properties around it?
Like I said in the report, like, most of the properties would fall more under the R20. That pretty much all the lots on there would be non-conforming because they're currently less than an acre and they're less than 150 feet in width.
What's the approved density for that zone?
I don't have that information.
Okay. That's a lot.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question here. So the A zoning, was that applied in '64? Or when did that zoning come about?
I mean, our current dimensional requirements are from the 1990 code. But I mean, the agriculture zoning district has always been an acre lot. So
Yeah.
I don't know what it was before it was the 60s.
I'm just trying to figure out if it got applied obviously it got applied at a later date from when these were built, or
No, I think it's always been agriculture.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was plotted back in '64, I think. But
Right.
it's always been agriculture.
Okay, all right, cool, thanks.
So if this was approved, then the new lot would be, what, only like a third of an acre, is that correct? And then it
It'd
would
be
become
the-
the smallest lot in the section.
Yeah, it'd be this 17,000 square feet and 85 feet in width.
And it would be required to have 25-foot setbacks both sides,
L-
not 15?
It would still be required to have 25-foot setbacks if they didn't get a variance.
Right. The variance is to reduce it to 15, not 25,
Mhm.
both sides,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because again, I mean, you know, this is old Port Orange as I remember it, and again, this used to be out in the middle of the country when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Now it's the middle of the city, but, okay, so I want to hear from the applicant.
Can I ask one more?
Yeah, go
question?
ahead.
So I want to make sure I'm understanding this right. In the current plan, it's the minimum setback on the side is 25 feet.
Yes.
And the request is to reduce that by 10 to go to 15 per side.
Yes.
So, okay, that's what I wanted to make sure of.
All right, so we're going to hear from the applicant.
Good evening. I am Dexter Kopp, and I am the owner at 917 Boyd Street. The whole reason that we're doing this, of course, is simply because my wife and myself are getting older.
You're
And
not.
we
You
are...
look the same as you did 30 years ago.
Oh, come on, man. My hair ain't black no more. So, but what we're doing is we're separating that off so my daughter and her husband and my two grandsons can build a new house and basically be close to us is the idea. In this way here, of course, they can still be in Port Orange. Megan was basically raised in Port Orange. I mean, she graduated from Creek in 2013. So, but anyway, that's the whole reason that we're doing this.
Okay, all right, do you have a presentation?
Yeah,
or
well,
something?
we've got the
Okay.
a little slideshow here. This property here, I believe, is over on Sandra. I mean, I didn't get any dimensions, but I mean, if you look at the left side of the house on the right, I mean, that does not look like a 25-foot setback. These two properties here, I mean, that does not look like 50 foot between those two properties. This one here, you know, there should be a 25-foot setback from the guy's.
So what are these
back
we're looking
fence.
at? Are we looking at adjoining, are we looking at neighboring properties
These
down
are
the
neighboring
street?
properties, correct. Okay, here's a fine example. It's on our street. That is not a 25-foot setback, either one of those properties, from the property line.
Which houses
Whereas
are those?
that is a 25-foot setback.
You have the addresses of these homes?
This one here, I believe it's 90, well, hold on a second.
It's the first and second house on the left, if I'm correct, when you go on the street.
Yep, that's right.
But one of them faces Bogsford, and one of them faces Boyd.
Correct. But they are both Boyd Street addresses, so.
Okay.
What is it, 90, Dale, what's your address, 902? 904. 904 Boyd. Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
So as you can see there again, that's Dale's house. This is my standing at the corner looking down Boyd Street. And as you can see, it's, you know, he's got a lot of green area in the front of his house on Boyd, on Bogsford. And this here being one of the neighbors, she had said something about she loves the green areas on our street, and that's why they bought there. And so this is their house at the end of the road with the large storage facility that was built right behind the house 2 years after I purchased. I was never told that that had been approved and behind, so shame on me. This is actually looking at the lot that I am proposed to section off. These 2 trees right there are probably 2, and then if you look at the one towards the back, I think those 3 trees are the only trees that'll need to be removed in order to be able to build on it. I mean, basically the rest of the lot is clear, and I keep it mowed and pick up the branches and everything else all the time. And as you can see over here on the right hand side, that is the neighbor's property to the east of us. That tree on the right is about probably 6 foot, 5-6 foot off from our property line. So the setback would still be about another 15 foot away from there. So I mean, that would still give a very good distance between our property or the new house and her house. One of the other comments I saw in one of the letters was that our street is very dark. I actually raised Cain with Florida Power and Light in the city of Port Orange back after I moved in there because our street was very dark, and now we have a street light on our street, and does actually help to light up the neighborhood a little bit. And I took that picture this morning myself about 4 o'clock. This is looking up towards 95. And there again, 4 o'clock in the morning. This is what the storage facility looks like out in your backyard here, which helps illuminate the backyard, so it's not pitch black out there. There again, that's looking eastward towards the neighbor's house. And this is basically an overview. Of course, I got this picture off from county website. And as you can see, yes, the neighbor on the one side's 150-ish. The neighbor to the east side's 150-ish. I'm at 255. So I'm proposing to do 85 foot just so I can supply that to my daughter, and that's basically about where the property would sit. So I mean, if you see, there's still plenty of distance between the neighbor's house and the new construction, because you're still going to be 15 foot off from that property line. So I mean, there's still going to be probably a good 50 foot between houses at least. Oh yeah, the shed is gone. We actually did a fire pit. So as far as for getting the shed removed in order to be able to divide it, yeah, the hurricane kind of blew it over, so I decided to put a fire pit in there. And there again, yeah, it's like, as you can see from this photo here, yes, we are the largest lot, pretty much in the whole subdivision of the area. And I don't understand why I should be penalized because I have the largest property there and I want to help my daughter out. I mean, I've been blessed to be able to be in real estate here for over 24 years, and I've made a good living at it. It's not like I'm a multi-millionaire or anything like that, but I am still trying to help my daughter, and hopefully I can get this variance approved so we can help her out.
I want to ask you a question on that comment. Why do you think you're being penalized?
Just basically because all of a sudden it's like a couple of the neighbors are saying that I've lied, said that I was going to make an Airbnb or something. I have no idea where that ever came from. Somebody else mentioned that I was planning on building a house there to rent it out, and that's not what my intentions are either. So, I mean, it just seems like, you know, some people have gotten a misconstrued idea in their head that, you know, I'm...
Okay, but not through the city.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, I love all you guys.
No, I just, again, because we're here considering the variance, and that's why again, I'm on that
Yeah,
subject, that's why
yeah,
I'm
no, I
asking.
understand. I
Okay.
understand.
All right,
But this here, this is the old survey, and I wasted a lot of time in the last couple days trying to locate this other survey that I originally had that actually showed that back in the 60s and 70s that they were 85-foot lots. And I wasted a lot of time today trying to locate that again because I don't know where I filed it at. But at the 85-foot lots, I mean, I wouldn't even be here. You know, I mean, it would already be a done thing, but
okay.
yes, that's my grandson out there having a fit. He's having a meltdown.
Okay. Is that, you done with that presentation? Go to questions?
That's
Alright.
it. I
Bo,
just
you got any
appreciate your
questions,
guys' consideration and hope
Dexter?
you approve it.
Hold on, don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any questions. I think what he's proposing to do is very consistent with what's there right now, and it looks like a good project. I don't see the harm.
Tom, you got anything with Dexter?
Now, just a comment, excuse me, just the one thing we have to look at is, granted, that's your initial plan right now. We can't vote based on your plan. Things can change very quickly, as we all know. So, and we also have to look down the road, is what's gonna happen with the neighborhood once your daughter moves out, or if she never moves in, or who's gonna be there, what's gonna happen in the neighborhood. So this is a long-term consideration we have, not just for your immediate needs.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say.
Maria?
I was going to say something similar. I'm looking down the road. You know, one of the things that your letter said was that it would bring up the property value of the neighborhood, but I don't think that's true at all. I actually think it will bring it down, especially for your neighbor that you're going to be butted up against. If she tries to sell her house and you have your house, your daughter's house, butted up right against it, I think that affects her negatively, not positively. But I was going to say the same thing. We have to look down the road. I love what you're doing for your daughter, but 10 years from now, where is this going to be?
But I mean, still, I mean, if you look at it, an 85-foot lot, and that's why I did that one rendition there on there, so you can actually see that 85-foot lot really doesn't look that much different than the 100-foot properties on the other side of the street.
Okay, Johnny?
May I ask how long you've lived in that existing house?
A little over 7 years.
Okay, so you've only been in there for 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where did you live prior? Were you in Port
Hensel
Orange?
Hill,
Okay.
Hensel Hill Road.
All right. So I guess that subdivision was developed back in 1964? Something like
Dale
that.
would know
It's
better than
been-
I do. I
And
don't know.
the size of that lot, if it's approved, you will probably design, my guess, some kind of a narrow structure that would meet the setbacks
Mhm.
there.
Yep.
Is it also feasible to make the house in a way where you can make it where, I mean, you can grant more side setbacks by reducing that width of the house?
That I don't know. I mean, they haven't.
Because you have 15 foot you're looking for, and all of a sudden, you're looking for something that's required 25. If you chop off 5 more on each side, that's another 10 feet, giving it almost 20.
Mhm.
Side puts in, make it, it's a long, deep lot.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's 200
lengthwise-
foot deep.
And I've actually physically built houses where a corner on a cul-de-sac, it was hitting a property line because it was a pie shaped.
Mhm.
And so we physically built a house with the corner cut off. So we complied. It was
Yeah.
unique, but we complied by keeping the house a
Yeah.
unique shape. All right, well, 7 years. I didn't know how many years you lived in there. So it's 20.
Mhm.
So you haven't been in there that long.
I thought you said 2.
No,
Okay.
no, no, I bought it and downsized in 2016.
And on some of the presentations you gave me, I am noting some people that wrote to us with objections with their addresses, and based on the house numbers, is there a way you can kind of give me an idea where, because the presentation I got from the city doesn't show house numbers, so I don't know where they are and how they're affecting your lot visually.
Mhm.
Would you be able to point out on one of these slides where some of these houses are?
Yep.
I have the house numbers here,
Yeah,
and I would just like
not
to
sure
see
how to
where
get
that
back
is.
to it, but, okay.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah,
Yep.
so if you could, the mouser has a little point, if you move the mouse, okay, there you go.
Show him something on my computer?
Well, I'm
Yep.
trying to get public to see it too.
Yeah,
909, where is that?
That's why I'm asking.
That's right there.
I'm sorry, wiggle it.
That's the one with the green roof.
Okay, so that's right next.
Now, you see, she's 909, I'm 917, so, I mean, there's
Okay,
some
so
reason
that's
that
909, what about 904 and 910?
904 is going to be there,
Okay,
and then 906, 910 is
Not-
right here.
okay, so that's across. And there's a lot of vegetation in the front of that house too.
Well, she has like 2 or 3 trees in front, but see the lot next door, that's all been ripped out because they
Right.
just built a brand new Miranda home there last
Okay.
year.
All right, well, I just needed some clarity to see where
Yeah.
some of your neighbors live so that I can get a better understanding of how it affected them. Thank you.
Okay.
You got anything?
I have nothing for the applicant, but I would like to ask a question of the staff before we go. And I would also request that we have a short recess to digest these letters, but I just don't want to be sitting here trying to read them while I'm trying to listen.
Okay, we'll come right back at that. Stan, anything for,
No, nothing right now.
okay. And I have nothing right now either. Thank you, Dexter.
All right, thank you, Lance.
Okay, so, does anybody from the public want to come speak to this? Come on up. And just-
Okay, I'll make one comment.
Okay, go
first.
ahead. Well, state your name for the record, please.
Megan Kaczynski.
And your
I'm
address?
Dexter's daughter.
Your address?
723 Raven Rock Court, Port Orange, 32127. In reference to the building and whatnot, we have been shopping around in preparation for this, but we weren't sure what would be approved or if it'd be approved at all. But we wanted to be ready to move forward in case this did get approved. So we have been shopping around with different builders. We haven't actually picked anything yet. But we have noticed that even the narrower houses, like this is kind of what we would need even to get some of the narrower structures, I would say. Especially going with a builder that is not fully custom because we don't have all the money in the world to do absolutely anything we could possibly want. So we are kind of under the restrictions of plans that they've already created under certain builders and whatnot. So yeah, so I'd say like what he's proposing is kind of like what we need in order, at least what we shopped for so far is what I'll say.
Okay, thank you.
I can't say who I've talked to yet.
Good evening. My name's Dale Holdridge. I live at 904 Boyd Street. We have been there, my wife and I and my son have been there since 2014. But that being said, my parents have been there since 1961. We are some of the original neighbors or owners in that area. When that land was bought, it was understood that it would be on the south side of Boyd Street would be 1/2 acre lots. And on the north side of Boyd Street, it would be 1 acre lots. And that being said, we were quite, Lance had said earlier, an old Port Orange neighborhood. And that's what we wanted. We wanted a country style living. We are zoned agriculturally. We've been zoned agriculturally since 1961. That's the time that I know of being in that neighborhood. I was being a toddler at that time. But we've always been in that neighborhood. Family's always been in that neighborhood. And we don't like to see the change of all the, I would say, cookie cutter homes being brought in with 15-foot sidelines. You know, you can reach out your window and shake hands with your neighbor standing in their bedroom. And we're against this. There's, I guess, 9 homes on the street. And I understand that by the commission here, if there's a majority of them that are against it, y'all would not pass it. That's why we're here today, and that's why you have letters I know of from at least 5 of them 9 against it. And so that's where we stand. We are against this variance change.
Thank you. Anybody else want to come speak to this? Yeah.
Dexter Cup, 917 Boyd Street. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of reply back to that because yes, on the south side of Boyd Street, pretty much all of those homes are on roughly a half acre. The setback between his house and the neighbor's house, there is not that 25-foot buffer that he's talking about shaking your neighbor's hands. But on the north side of Boyd Street, my property is the only one that is an acre or more. Nobody else on the street has an acre. So I don't understand what that was supposed to mean. And then also they were talking something about island heat. I think Diana's daughter had sent something in about, you know, taking down too many trees and creating more heat. Well, my lot is pretty much already cleared. I mean, it's like I said, in order to put that house on there, I think only a couple of trees need to come down anyway. So, but, all right, I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to take a quick 3-minute recess while we read these letters, and then we'll come right back to it, okay?
So, Mr. Chairman, I just had a quick procedural clarification point. No matter what we do here tonight, this still we're just recommending to the city commission what they're gonna finally do. So the city commission has the final vote on that, is that?
No, this is a variance.
This is?
Yes or no?
Directly, okay, just wanted to make sure we had it all nailed down.
We had enough time?
We all good?
I'm good.
Okay.
Everybody good?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay. All right, so you had a question of staff?
Yes, please. Are Airbnbs allowed in the city of Port Orange anywhere at the moment?
We currently don't have a rental ordinance, so if anybody rents out their house, they have to follow the same single-family resident requirements for noise, trash, light, parking. So we don't have an ordinance right now that prohibits any rentals of any type, so.
So it could in fact be a short-term rental?
And any house could be a short-term rental.
Okay.
So on this, and I know this is for the variance, but a lot of times, you know, we would get impacts of, you know, is there sewer, is there water, is, you know, obviously, you know, traffic, I mean, because we're adding a residence, is that something that doesn't come up at this point, right, or no? I mean-
No, the variance is just a variance request for the dimensional requirements, basically to subdivide a lot.
Okay.
If it gets approved and if they do the minor subdivision and go to build a new house, like, they'll have to pay impact fees, for instance, for any new house.
No, I get that, but I mean, like, anytime something new comes in front of us, we get calculations, is there?
Not
is
for a
there-
single-family
No.
residence, those are exempt, so.
Is there water and sewer there, or is it well and septic?
There's water and sewer on the street.
Thought so.
Okay. Thank you. All right, well, back up here to this panel. Comments, concerns? Bo, I'll start with you.
Well, I said my piece earlier. I believe that it's consistent with what's going on in that neighborhood, and I understand the concern about renting the property out, but you know, this could happen with any property on the street, and I wouldn't single this one out for that reason. So I have nothing else to say about it.
Okay. Tom?
My real concern is when we're dealing with what you consider non-conforming lots, where they're just weird sizes, and it's all over the, what you call Old Port Orange, if you want to call it that. And when we start mixing in, when we start adding in additional non-conforming lots, it just really bothers me. That's
Maria?
all.
Bo, you mentioned it's consistent with what's happening in that neighborhood. Are other lots being divided in here and houses built?
No, I'm talking about the appearance of the neighborhood.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, I don't see how this property would stand out excessively or cause undue hardship for anybody on the street. The removal of 2 trees, yeah, we don't like to see trees go, but you know, I think that that's really not a consideration when we look at what they're trying to accomplish. So that was my
Really, my biggest concern is how close it's gonna be to the other house. That if that was my house, I wouldn't want it. That's my biggest
Well, I'm
concern.
thinking about my neighborhood is where I live, and Countryside West. And we have, our setbacks are much less than that. And it's very comfortable, we're happy with it, and it's a great neighborhood. And I know this is a different type of neighborhood, as you say, Old Port Orange, and the homes all are, you know, different. And but unless, you know, they paint the house pink or purple or something like that, I just don't, I don't see going.
John?
This is not a unique situation. I recall a couple of years ago, we filled up this entire room with people that were worried about their acre lots being split into half-acre lots. And it was standing room only in here. And it did have an effect on the outcome because it disrupted the residents of Port Orange within that neighborhood. They spoke up, they made their piece, they made their voices heard. In this particular street, not including the house that wants a variance, there's 8 homes. One lot, I believe, is vacant, of which I've received 4 letters from neighbors that are 5, that are well, I don't know,
We got one in the packet. And then-
Okay, well, so there's a majority of people that have been living in this neighborhood for consistently quite a long time, second generation homeowners. It is hard to try to, the intentions are good, but how it disrupts that neighborhood. When I took this position on this board or any other board, it was an understanding I would try to do what I felt was best for the residents that are being affected in that area. And in this case, it is disruptive, and the intentions may be good, but I don't see, because the person's been in it for 7 years, it does have real estate value if it gets sold later on. You're selling 2 homes. I understand that, I understand the intentions, but how it affects the neighbors would affect how I voice my opinion on this matter. Thank you.
Newton?
This is a hard one for me because I really want to do this. I understand the family unit. I understand the family dynamic, keeping the family together, wanting to do a good for your daughter. I get all of that, and that really tugs at my heart. But my brain has to tell me that the people to the east bought that house with the knowledge that there was a 25-foot setback and nothing's going to be built within 25 foot of his property line. And that's the dynamic that we're changing, and not by inches or a couple of feet. We're smacking 10 foot off of it. We're going from 25 to 15, and that's pretty substantial. The house that's going to have to be built, that's going to be no more than 45 feet wide, is going to look substantially different from any of the other architecture on Boyd Street. And we have 8 other residents besides the applicant on Boyd Street, and 5 of them have taken the time to write a letter, and 1 of them has shown up. So obviously the character of the neighborhood and the feel of the neighborhood makes it very difficult for me to say yes to this, because of it changing the neighborhood. Despite I would like to do it, but it's just not, I don't feel it's the right thing to do, and that's my reasoning.
Thank you. Stan?
I agree with a lot of what Newton said. You know, I kind of wish that the applicant's current house was west a few feet. That'd make it a lot easier. And it'd be a little cost prohibitive to drag it over. But it is one of those deals where it's kind of the existing character of the neighborhood, even though the lot that you're proposing would be similar to the lot sizes across the street. I'm not too wild about this.
Okay. And I'm going to kind of echo some of these same things. I mean, I see what we're doing here, and to be able to have your family next door, I think is, you know, I get it. At the same time, this is a part of town that, again, with the age and the zoning being ag and these things, there's a lifestyle down in that area of space and of country and those things, and I'm concerned, does this conform to what's going on? That being my concern. But at the same time, it's like, you know, you want to be, you know, want to be a little more forgiving, I guess, when it comes to, you know, I'd love to have a house with my kids next door, you know what I mean? Well, maybe not. But at the same time, I'm kind of torn on this one as well. So, but with that being said, we have a proper motion and a second on the floor. Would you call the roll, please?
Bobo Faney,
Yes.
Thomas Jordan,
No.
John Junko,
No.
Newton White,
No.
Dan Schmidt,
I'm going to say no.
Maureen Mills Bennett,
No.
Landstrom,
No. All right, moving on. Case number, where is it?
VARC-23-0009.
Thank you.
He's a grandpa now, you'll have to excuse him.
Variance from the LDC to reduce the minimum rear setback and landscape buffer along Westridge Avenue right-of-way from 10 feet to 2.5 feet and reduce the landscape buffer along Caldwell Street from 10 feet to 2.5 feet.
Make a motion to approve case number VARC-23-0009.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Gwen?
All right, Gwen, Penny Planner. I always wanted to know how to pronounce that name. Like I always say Crowell. Is there a right way? So the variance request is from the Eagles. They've been at the property for a long time and have improved the property over the years. There's two situations here with the variances. The first one is the variance request for a covered canopy on the back. They currently have a paver patio that is located within 2.5 feet, or it is located 2.5 feet from their property line. And their request is to reduce the building setback and the required buffer back there in order to put a covered canopy for the comfort of their members. They have events out there from time to time and would like to continue to use that space comfortably and remove the temporary sails that are up there now. The second request is related to the overflow parking area that they use from time to time. Basically, they purchased the property, I don't remember when, 2016 maybe, and tore down an old dilapidated house and have kind of been using this area informally and would like to now improve that lot, bring it up to code. And in order to do that and to get the required spacing for the length of the parking spaces, a circulation drive, that they need a variance for the south end for 2.5 feet buffer instead of the 10-foot buffer. 2.5 feet would be the required buffer if it was adjoining another property, but since it's adjoining right-of-way, it increases to 10 feet. So they're asking for that 2.5 foot, which would match if they were abutting another property. Right now, Crowell Street is technically right-of-way, but it hasn't been used as that. It's mostly used, or it is used by the apartment complex there for their parking. The city doesn't have plans to improve it into a right-of-way where they might need more of a buffer from traffic, essentially. So this is kind of looking at that area, and then the area that would be planted with shrubs, they'd be required to plant shrubs and trees in there. So that's what the requests are for. And staff is recommending approval of the variances. And the applicants are here also if you have any questions.
All right, we'll start with questions of staff. We'll start with you, Stan.
Is this one of those things where the city could opt to just abandon that right away?
So with right-of-way vacations, both adjoining property owners have to apply. The Eagles have tried to talk to that apartment complex owner to get that area vacated, but haven't been successful to do that. If they could vacate it, then half would go to the Eagles, half would go to the apartment. So they just haven't been able to work that out yet.
Newton?
No, I think I've got a good handle on this. I wish that we had a picture or some type of an idea of what type of canopy that they're looking to.
It's attached to the in the back of the packet. You should have, there's an attachment
Maybe I
for
just didn't go
generally
down.
what they were looking
Yeah,
for.
it's down pretty far.
Okay,
But
there
it
we
would
go.
be a permanent structure. They'd have to get building permits. They'd have to meet wind load calculations. So that's the request for that one.
Okay, yeah, I went right past it and saw the
okay.
picture of the fence.
Yeah, the pictures are
Um,
weird how they scanned in.
Yeah, okay, that's a nice sturdy structure.
Tony?
You may have inadvertently answered my question because I was interested in knowing the canopy setbacks are being implied for building setback because it's considered a permanent structure. So this canopy will be required to be a permanent structure, so it'll comply with building rear setbacks.
Well, anything they want to build back there, essentially, they'd have to get a variance for it because you can't encroach into that technically 10-foot buffer with a structure. So that's why they're requesting the
Well-
variance, but it's what they want to do is the actual steel, or hard
That,
roof.
yeah, they'll probably have a footer.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid from the picture. If that's their intentions,
Yes.
it's a lot more solid than canvas and rope, I guess.
Well, it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm asking a question, it's pretty much to the same footprint as where they have the shade sails now.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, it looks good, it looks clean, and it's all definitely improvements. No, that's it, thank you.
Maria?
I just was curious about the parking lot on the other side of Crowell.
Mhm.
That is the apartment complex's official parking lot? Is that the only place they park?
That's the only place they can park. It's just one of those old developed,
So they
Ridgewood.
just kind of pull up in the
That's-
grass?
Yeah, pretty much.
Got it, okay.
Really? Tom?
Yeah, having lived down there, I know exactly what she's talking about. It's just,
Spend some donuts on the way out?
Yeah.
it's highly
It's
questionable.
very odd.
It is, yeah, it's old. Looking at the picture, and it looks like it's obvious from what we're talking about, between the parking area that exists now and this, on the south side of that parking area to Crowell, there's still a huge gap to Crowell, right? Of
It looks like there is.
Right now,
improved.
what they have right now for their overflow is pretty much right at that 2.5 foot.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
we're trying to get it back into compliance with,
Yeah.
having them do I think they want to pave it, and then they'd have to do curbing, landscaping, and all that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Bo?
It's good looking rendering of the facility they want to build. It looks good. My only question is, well, actually there's two. What is the neighborhood like around the building?
So basically, there's another club on the corner directly next door, and then behind it is the American Legion, and then there's a single family home, and then there's some vacant lots, and then there's another home down here on this end, and that's
So
pretty much
there's not a
neighborhood.
lot of homes within a close proximity of the property.
There's one that's like
Just the
directly
one.
across, yeah, just one that's directly behind them.
Okay, my second question is, oh, I see, yeah. My second question is, what's the use? What are they gonna use that?
Well, they're gonna continue to use it as they've been using it, as just an outdoor event area, where they have different functions, from time to time. The applicants can let you know their intent, but it's basically to keep doing what they're doing, just under a permanent
Shade.
roof instead of the temporary.
It's hot, Bo.
What?
It's hot, they need shade.
Well, I understand that, but I'll ask the question to the applicant. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so the applicant is here and want to come up and speak? Whoever wants to talk, whichever guy you're sending up here.
They've been sitting here waiting a long time.
I'm Robert Broad. I'm one of the trustees at the Port Orange Eagles. Been there for 15 years. So we developed the building, the lots, and cleaned up the street there. So, what questions do you have?
Do we have a question of the applicant,
The
Bo?
usage? Yeah, we do a lot of our fundraising back there. That's what we use it for.
Yeah.
So when we have big events, we overflow to the back. And when it rains, puts a problem on cancellation of a fundraiser because we don't have a permanent roof on it. So that's one of the main reasons.
Yeah, the only reason I asked that question, I know we've had complaints about a restaurant at Commonwealth and Route 1 and noise factor and activities. And your use would be incidental and occasional. It's not going to be a consistent thing where you, or is it? I don't know.
No. I mean, even when we have events back there, they usually break up around 8:30 or 9 o'clock at the latest. Our hours is 10 to 10, so we're closed by 10. So it's not like the First Turn or other places there.
Okay.
These three guys are part of the rock band down there, man.
You guys go to sleep at 10 o'clock or what?
Huh?
You guys go to bed at 10 o'clock or what?
Just like
Yeah,
you.
I'm in bed at 8 o'clock, so.
Tom, you got anything?
I told Bo it's not going to be welcome to Rockville South or anything like that. No, I'm a big fan of what you guys have done down there. I think the Eagles Club, you've done a great job. The improvements with the new building, your parking, the landscaping, the look, it just looks great on Ridgewood. So thank you very much.
We tried, let me tell you. Yeah.
Maria?
I agree.
Johnny?
No, I think you've answered that with what type of functions you did back there. Nothing but praise and good intentions, so no questions from me.
Newton?
No, I'm good with it. I see what you're doing. I was an Eagle for a year.
Were you?
A whole year.
A whole
Wow.
At our club?
I was probably the youngest person in the building and looked like somebody's grandchild. So
Yeah.
it really didn't work out real well for me.
Well, the crowd's actually getting younger. You should come back.
Well, I'm getting older too. So.
Yeah.
She's not a
In the
musician.
middle.
That's
But
right.
yeah, I like what you've done there, and you know I have to say it's just the Ridgewood corridor. The depth from Ridgewood is pretty short. Everything has to be linear, and it needs flexibility to make something fit there that makes a good use of the land.
Stan?
I'm good.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Anybody from the audience want to come and speak to this? Come on up.
Good evening.
State your name for the
I'm Lisa McCarthy, and I own the property at 5110 West Ridge, which is the single home directly behind the Eagles Club. I'm a long-term resident here of Volusia County, and I'm really hoping that you'll consider not doing the additions and also the parking lot. I think that it negatively impacts my home, of course, but also the entire neighborhood, because there are houses, they are spaced down, but I don't know if you can see the map, you'll see that the road that it's on, it's already a very poorly constructed road, needs lots of repair anyways. The expansion of the parking lot, it'll increase traffic in the area, which has really been a huge problem. I bought the property in 2018, and obviously there's been a lot of people moving into the area too. And between the Veterans Club, there's an AA Anonymous Club, which I didn't even know was there when I bought it, and the Eagles Club, the traffic has increased exponentially. It's been really, really bad. Sometimes you can't get into our driveway because the overflow between the two clubs of parking. Also, there's people drink, obviously, at all the clubs around, and you'll see them walking down the roads. Both garbage dumpsters from the Eagles and also the Veterans Club has increased a huge amount of feral cats in the area. You can't get rid of them. They're constantly around my home. Also, the noise, it impacts the noise negatively in the area. My son lives there. He works for UPS, so he gets up very early and he goes to bed very early, and he can't sleep. It's just really bad, especially the past probably 3 years. It's just gotten really out of control. I think that it negatively impacts the quality of life, the tranquility of the residential neighborhoods. And then, Florida law states that it's illegal to play music or any audio loud enough to be heard 25 feet or more away. And the law says audio should not be louder than necessary in areas where private residents, churches, schools, or hospitals are. Currently, the canopies are not being utilized. I did take a tour over there yesterday myself, And because the canopies are slanted, the lady had told me that no one does go out there, and that's why, and it's already loud with no one out there. So the permanent canopies, I'm assuming, would look like the one permanent canopy that's already out there, and that would increase noise even more so in the area. And she was telling me that they're looking for it because it doesn't provide the weather protection, and nobody wants to go out there because there's no weather protection, but they would definitely want to go out there if they had these permanent canopies up. So again, it would increase the noise. It's also the zoning, I think,
Can we give her just a couple more minutes, please?
will devalue the residential property, the worth of the house. There's currently a housing shortage in Florida and all throughout the state. You know, people moving into the area. The median cost of a home in Port Orange right now is $373,000. That's a 173% increase since I purchased the home back in 2018. So just 5 years ago, I mean, it's almost kind of like pretty far-fetched to be able, but on that street alone, the housing has not increased 173%. It's increased more like 85%. So for me to be able to sell the house and replace it at a median cost is kind of far-fetched because no one, when they see what's going on around it, no one's going to want to purchase the house. So I respectfully request that you consider the concerns when evaluating the zoning request. I think if you take the loud considerations, because it is a family home, and there are other homes on the street, they're just a little bit further away. So I respectfully hope that you'll consider, you know, not increasing it because of the noise and because it devaluing the home, the more noise out there. It's just a really bad mess. The road is in poor condition, more people coming out. It's just going to make it really worse. During the hurricanes last year, the road was completely flooded and washed away. So it's just, and then the cats, the music, the DUIs, it's just really bad. It's not a comfortable place to be for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? I got one question of staff. You do too?
Mhm.
Does traffic from this property go out to Westridge?
No.
There's no access from Eagles to Westridge, right?
Right, and
Because I drove down there, I didn't see.
yeah, their driveways, they have one here on Howes, and then they have the one here on Ridgewood.
But they do not access
No.
Westridge off of that, correct?
We can't take comments from the audience.
Okay, yeah, I got you. In the event, if this was passed and this parking lot was brought to code, there would be no access to Westbridge.
Right, yeah, commercial traffic isn't supposed to access the local road, so
Correct.
if they brought it up to code, if they move forward with site plan modification, they'd have to have a buffer back there, actually.
Right.
Curbing too, like concrete curbing with the asphalt.
They'd have to, I believe they want to pave it, but yeah, they'd have to put curbing in.
Okay.
Okay, so that would be a buffer.
A barrier.
Yeah, from the access point of Westridge.
Okay.
Okay.
Warren, what is the distance
Hang on
from
a
the
second.
home?
Hang on. Maria?
Am I correct in saying the parking lot's not really being expanded, it's just being improved upon?
Correct.
So you're not adding a lot more parking spaces?
They're gonna
you're just
stay
improving
contained.
what's already there?
Yeah, they're gonna be contained within what's already there.
Okay, that's what I thought. She said expanded, so I was confused. I wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about.
Okay, Bo? Oh, sorry, go ahead, you're not done?
I just wanted to ask one more thing. Also, with the shelter, I don't think it's gonna bring any more people there than are already coming there. I mean,
That's
that's
a
my
question for the
assumption.
operations.
Okay.
All right, Bo?
I don't think, I agree with you. I don't think that it'll bring more people. They'll
I
be
don't think so.
outdoors. There'll be more people outdoors. What is the distance from the lady's home to the property? Do you have any idea?
Westridge is a 50-foot wide right-of-way, I believe, so
Okay.
it's at least 50 feet.
And there is an ordinance, 25 feet?
The city has a noise ordinance for the city of Port Orange, which is, I believe, from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So we had, if there's any police complaints, they have to go out and measure the noise. We haven't had any so far. So, but the Eagles would need to follow the noise ordinance at any time during the day, yeah. And night.
Anything else for staff?
Yeah, The rain runoff from that canopy, how are they gonna address that?
I believe they intend to put gutters on it. You can ask the Eagles, but I believe they intended to do a gutter downspout.
Okay. Are you aware of any kind of police documented incidents due to excessive partying over there? Alcohol or DUIs or anything like that?
Yeah, we had the records clerk pull if there was any noise complaints recently for the Eagles or the American Legion, and there hasn't been.
Okay, thank you.
So that brings up a question for me then, okay, so let's talk about lot coverage and let's talk about pervious and impervious areas. Where's the calculation for this? Where's retention? Where is there water retention?
Ridgewood, I believe, is exempt because it's stormwater. They do have swale system out front to hold water runoff, but as far as the lot coverage and impervious, they would have to meet the requirements of the Ridgewood Development District, zoning district. So they'll be able to meet that with that added canopy, the stormwater in general.
Tim Berman, Community Development. This is a variance request, so basically when we get these, we evaluate everything in terms of what is requirement for the code. We only bring a variance request on the items that do not meet code. So we've checked the impervious, we checked the open space, we've checked all that. We're bringing forward a variance on these 2 items because they don't meet code. So that's why we basically don't include those calculations in here, because they've already complied with our land development code. And to speak on the noise ordinance, the Eagles are required to comply with the noise ordinance. As with the restaurant down the street, if there is an issue with it being loud past 10 p.m., they are to call the police department. Police department will go out there. If they provide their name and number and leave their information, if they're anonymous, the police department cannot do the job there. So they've got to basically call the police department, leave their name and number, the police department will go investigate basically the noise then. We checked with the PD and they have not had any complaints or calls on this location then. And the Eagles are aware of the hours and the decibel limits that they have to comply to if this gets approved.
Okay, but with that being said though, Tim, I mean, the code says that we're not gonna be able to shed the water from this property onto adjoining properties, correct? And
Correct.
that would have to be adhered to.
My staff will make sure that is done.
From a grading standpoint, it's gotta make sure it goes
Right.
to the east, right?
We're basically there, but at this point, we haven't got a permit in
I
yet
understand.
because we don't want to have them waste all the time and effort to submit a permit on there then. So basically, we evaluate it, we know what we got to do. If this gets approved, the community development staff will make sure it complies with every other requirement there in terms of drainage and water flow.
Because they'll need to do a site plan and everything.
For
you
this,
guys.
it'll be a building permit, but engineering will look at that.
Okay.
And basically, as part of the building permit, we'll make sure that basically that water flows where it needs to flow.
Understood.
Tim, question. Is there any way that the density of the shrubbery could be increased? You know, would that help with sound, I wonder?
There's a significant amount of vegetation basically in that unused right-of-way there. There's about 25 feet of trees and vegetation there in addition to the 6-foot PVC fence. So I don't know if there's more shrubbery that could be installed on that then in terms of the landscaping with part of the parking lot improvement. There may be some improvements there then, but for the most part, the landscaping in there, there's a very narrow area for that to be put on their property. There's a significant amount that we typically don't see in a right-of-way behind this property, which is a unique circumstance that we don't see on other local roads or other commercial roads, which is why basically you got a recommendation based off of that information. And also the understanding too that we spoke with Public Works, Public Utilities, there's no plans to do any type of utility infrastructure down there. So we're confident those trees will not be removed as part of an improvement project done by the city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else care to speak to this in the audience? No, we have okay, we got one more. Come on up, state your name for me, sir.
Good evening. My name is Basil Zeising. I'm the owner of 5160 Ridgewood Avenue, the apartment complex right there.
Okay.
My question is just that I want to know if the street is going to be blocked. If we're going to get access to go into the street is not the parking lot.
You mean
we have
Krause
parking
Street?
lot in front, right? Crowell Street.
Well, no, I mean,
It won't be
obviously they
blocked.
can't go on Cromwell Street because it's
That's
a
all my
right-of-way.
question
Okay, what's
because
the question?
I get a notice from you guys
Okay.
to appear here today, and
Okay.
that was my only question.
Oh, huh? I don't think
The
you just
street
get-
won't be blocked.
You just
You'll
get
be
a
able to
notice.
access
You
You
get a notice of
because
this
you're
hearing.
in the area.
Okay,
Oh,
you're
okay,
here.
okay.
You're an
Property.
adjoining property.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to let you know that something's going on.
Okay.
And you're welcome to come here to see what's going on, if it has a large impact on you. We're
Right,
here to
right,
hear
right.
your
I
concerns.
mean, I have nothing against
Okay.
the Eagle Club or anything. I just
Okay.
want to know if it's going to affect the tenants using that street in and out.
No, it
That-
will.
that's
It won't.
That's all.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
No, sorry, wait.
All right.
Okay, any further comments? Anybody? Anybody? Again, my thing is, again, the Eagles, as a whole have improved that area immensely, both by what they're doing. And we've worked with them for years and years to get to this point, and, them building the new building, moving from the other building, and parking lots for dirt for a while, and if you drive down there, it's a very good-looking building and a huge improvement to Ridgewood. Obviously, we concern ourselves with the residents around it. I don't think that the Eagles is the same as the place down the street. So we'll name any names, but I don't think they're having rock concerts out there every day during Bike Week. So,
Yeah.
but with that being said, I do have a proper motion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do have one other comment. The Eagles building as it is now was constructed in 2011, and I think you did the patio probably after that. And our public comment said she bought the house in 2018. So this was already there when she bought the residence.
Okay. All right. With that being said, we have a motion and a second. Would you call the roll, please?
Bobo Family,
Yes.
Thomas Jordan.
Yes.
John Junko,
Yes.
Newton White,
Yes.
Stan Schmidt,
Yes.
Maria Mills Bennett,
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes, 7-0. Thank you, guys. All right, on to
Other business.
commissioner comments. I'll start down here with you, Stan.
No comment.
Newton?
All is well.
Johnny?
No, just in the thoughts, our fellow commissioners that we lost recently, they're in our prayers and good friends of ours, and it's sad, and that's pretty much, the extent of that.
Yeah. Maria?
I'm good.
Tom?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
Phil?
Nothing, except I want to acknowledge Tom's new hat. It's,
It's almost realtor
Tim's
blue.
trying to see it. Could you lift it up for him?
Right, Bo? Almost realtor blue, isn't it?
exactly. I won't name a firm.
His wife won't let him go out the house looking good. And I just want to reiterate what Johnny said again. It's a tough day for Port Orange and losing two really big-time volunteers in this city. I mean, you take a look at the
They're hard
hours
to come by.
that both of those guys have put into this city over their years, and with Frank being on the family days and sitting up here on this
Chamber.
panel for the years that I served with him, and Rich and in the honor, and I served with him for I don't know how long on here, and the effort and the commitment that they put towards their city, you can't question. I mean, it's just, and it is a sad day, for a sad week for our city, but again, just keep their family in your prayers, and hopefully they get through this okay. Staff comments?
Whoa! What is happening?
Settle down, settle down.
We're gonna go through this.
Tim was like, I quit. You're going out. You're going
We're
out.
going through this.
Put in Roberton.
Good evening. Staff also wants to echo the Planning Commission's thoughts and prayers for the families of our departed planning commissioners as well. I just want to take a minute and introduce a new staff member that you may be seeing before you in future meetings. This is Suzette Cameron. She's our new senior planner. So just wanted to introduce you to her and here to answer any questions you might have.
Cool. Oh, sure. Let's get her up here.
Oh, now you're under the pressure already. We're breaking you in right.
Sorry that you have to deal with us.
Good evening.
Sorry, you
Well,
have to deal
kid,
with
I didn't know
them.
that's what you were doing here. Again, I've known her since she was about, what, 7?
Yes, sir.
Grew up with her brothers. Knowing her well. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And she's been you with City of Daytona for quite some time, right? You did the DARE program for a long time, and then you were with the city.
Police
So
officer, and was with the city of Port Orange until 6 months ago and returned because I love it so much. And I reside in the city as well, and I grew up here.
Nice.
So thank you for bringing me back.
That's great.
Good deal. Welcome back.
Welcome
All right.
back.
Say hello to your mom for me.
Will do.
All right, public comments? Come on, man.
Come on, Robert.
The public is letting us down.
You haven't stood up once tonight, Robert.
Gotta say something.
You got to get on TV with that silly shirt on.
That's tonight, that's Thursday Night Football.
All right. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion
So
to
moved.
adjourn.
And a second.
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 We are adjourned.
Boom.
Go Finns.
We start one.